What's going on, guys? Well, with the release of Nope this weekend, Jordan Peele now has 3 films for us to discuss, and that's enough for me to do a ranking. So Get Out, Us, and Nope are all going to be in this video. I have reviewed each of these movies in full, so I'll put cards throughout the video to direct you to those videos if you want all of my thoughts. But Jordan Peele, I will say, even though all 3 of his movies aren't complete knockouts for me, he is one of those modern directors that always has my attention, and he captured my attention right away with Get Out. He's one of those writers and directors that always brings something fresh and unique and different, and I've reached the point as a movie fan to where I actually like those experiences more than most of the pretty safe movie experiences that we get throughout the year. I might not like the movie at all, or it might blow me away, and I love walking into a movie with the excitement, the risk of not knowing how I'm gonna walk out feeling about it, and that's Jordan Peele's movies in a nutshell for me. Coming in at number 3 for me is going to be Us. Now, I made a statement in my Nope review that I was not sure whether or not I liked Nope more or less than Us, and after rewatching this film today, I am no longer unsure about that statement. Definitively, Us to me is the weakest film of the 3. I still like it on some level. I appreciate the ambition here. There's a lot of concepts that he's going for, both visually and narrative, that I do like, that I am intrigued by, and that I wish just came together in a more satisfying way. But for me, the ambition overreaches this movie's logic. And everybody's different. I know people that love Us, that think it's his best movie, and love all of the different metaphors and symbolism and all the Easter eggs and little details throughout it. And that's certainly cool. That's the ambition that I admire. But for me, this movie really falls apart in the second act when it starts assigning rules and explanations to what's going on, and my brain just does not compute it. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make any logical sense how you have the entire Earth's population basically underneath the ground, and all of them are tethered in a way to where whatever the person above ground does, the person below ground does in some way, shape, or form. So when somebody gets on a car or an airplane, does that person just shoot across the tunnels? Like, there's so many weird little things that when I start to think about it for more than a second, it just falls apart for me. And now, having seen the film for a 3rd time, I still can't get there. I still can't shut that logic side of my brain off and just watch this movie at a surface value. I can't get through it. So despite the fact that I admire what he was going for here, I think that his tendency to go for the symbolism and the metaphors and go for these hidden meanings really broke the movie. And it's a shame because there's a lot of great character work and a lot of great acting going on in this film too. Like, Lupita Nyong'o is almost Oscar worthy in this. The way that she has the dual roles and the way that she makes Red be like almost like a cockroach, the way that she moves, it was some very creepy, wild shit. Number 2 for me is going to be Nope. Now, I had very high expectations for this movie, very high hopes, I should say, that I really like the old school blockbuster approach that this was going for and paying homage to, like Jaws and Close Encounters, and it seemed to be a little bit more of a sci-fi movie than a horror film, and I was curious what Jordan Peele was going to do with that. The trailers certainly intrigued me, and there was a lot in this movie that I really appreciated. I love the filmmaking, no matter whether or not I like the story, the narrative, the writing or not. All 3 movies are brilliantly directed by Jordan Peele. This is of no exception. There's some great shots, beautiful cinematography, especially at nighttime. The way that they're able to like light characters and light these special effects at night, and it doesn't look faded, it doesn't look cloudy whatsoever, no pun intended. That was masterful. That was something that was impressive, and I love all of the characters in this movie and all the actors portraying those characters. A little bit mixed on Daniel Kaluuya's really extra stoic character, but that was totally intended. Just didn't completely come together for me. But where the movie falls for me is like a lighter example of what fell apart for me with Us, which is when he tries to implement all of these metaphors and symbolism and all of this underlying message into the movie, where it felt like this was deliberately a bit more of a grounded and a bit more of a small-scale surface value story. When he tried to go metaphoric, it almost feels foreign to the film. It feels like frosting that doesn't belong on this cake. To the point where there's an entire subplot in the movie regarding this monkey that by the end you could completely delete. Does it reinforce one of the themes that he's going for? Absolutely. So for some people that means it's necessary. But for me, the movie ended up feeling about 10 to 15 minutes too long, and that subplot doesn't tie into the main narrative aside from putting a little exclamation point on the point that he's already making with the film. There was also some action, some things that happened in the 3rd act that to me didn't make a lot of narrative sense. It just felt like he kind of cheated. He had to make that happen to once again go for the symbolism, go for the message, and kind of poke holes in the integrity of the story that he's telling here and there. And I also didn't love the creature design that we have in the movie. And I can't get too specific without going into spoilers. To me, it was a little too weird, and I didn't quite comprehend what I was looking at. Certainly wasn't something that I thought was cool and unique. It was something I thought was strange and unique. Overall, I still had a good time with the movie. It is something that I do look forward to rewatching and seeing how my experience with it grows over time. But on my one-time experience with the film, I was a bit disappointed. I was hoping it was going to be much more on the level of my number one. And as you've already figured out, number one is Get Out. I rewatched this film today for the third time, haven't seen it in years, and I like this movie more every single time that I watch it. To me, Jordan Peele so far works so much better as a storyteller when he works within the confines of simplicity and subtlety. And that's one of this movie's biggest strengths for me, is that it puts this very grounded, real-world, everyday situation that already has natural, organic tension, bringing a boyfriend home to meet your parents, adding in the extra cultural thing of having a black boyfriend bringing him home to white parents, and all of that creates this uncomfortable scenario and these uncomfortable questions and these uncomfortable conversations in and of itself. But Jordan Peele does a great job in his script writing with Get Out, with implementing this social commentary and this thematic element about social appropriation, cultural appropriation, and the way that he brings it to the movie. It doesn't overshadow or dismantle the movie at its face value. And that's where the best commentary comes into play. When you have a film that you can just watch it as a brainwashing movie, and it's totally entertaining and completely works in and of itself. But if you have the time, if you have the fucks to give to dig a little deeper and to start to look at what it's saying underneath, there's a lot of value there. There's a lot of a doggy bag message that you can take home and start to discuss the movie with, which just gives even more of an enriching experience when you're watching and experiencing a story like this. And so when you watch Get Out, the tension is high, the cinematography is great. There's a lot of really cool effects that he did for his first time film that was very impressive for a low budget film especially. Performances are great all the way across the board. This was my introduction to Daniel Kaluuya, and he's one of the best out there. And I love seeing all of the actors from films that I recognize. Like, you got Catherine Keener here, who's great. Bradley Whitford, who we will always remember as the douchebag in Billy Madison. It's just a really enjoyable movie. And above all, I will say this is the movie that has the most successful humor to me. Jordan Peele implements his humor into all three of his films, and as far as not breaking up the tone that he's going for, he does a mostly successful job with that, least of which in Us. But in Get Out, when you got the character played by Lil Rel Howery, that guy cracks me up in every single scene that he's in, and it doesn't undercut the tension and the horror that's going on, which is such a rare accomplishment for a filmmaker. So all in all, I think that Get Out is damn near a masterpiece. There's still some slight logic issues that I have with the movie that, no matter how many discussions I've had with people, no matter how many rewatches I've had, don't completely make sense to me, but this is by far the least egregious in that area of his three films. So this one, to me, absolute classic, the number one Jordan Peele film. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please click over here and check out some of my other director rankings. I've got quite a few from many different genres, and I'm also going to put the rest of my 2022 movie reviews, in which you will find my review of Nope. Thank you for watching, and please like and share this video and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything in the future. And remember, as always, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.